Hi, Jeff here from the Wetsuit Centre, talking to you today about the Billabong Foil 3-2 Summer Wetsuit for 2014. Okay, so the Billabong Foil, a lot of people will be familiar with that. It's been around for a long old time. The foil was previously known as kind of like the entry-level wetsuit for the summer and winter range. That's been sort of superseded by the Billabong Intruder, which is really sort of straightforward wetsuit, which contains a lot of sort of less quality BTN, less quality, less super stretch neoprene. So the Billabong foil has moved away from that now, and it can really be considered as more of a sort of performance wetsuit because it's now 100% super stretch. So where in previous years you just had some of the Superflex neoprene, which is the really stretchy, soft stuff in the upper body of the wetsuit, so from kind of like the shoulders down to the midriff. Now it's the whole way through. So that's kind of followed suit with like the Rip Curl Dawn Patrol. And then you've also got the Oneo Epic as well. They're all sort of super stretch wetsuits, which used to be previously the entry level suits. So now you've got the Intruder for the real basic sort of needs for those who are not sort of often water users. And now the foil sits a little bit more expensive, but it's 100% super stretch wetsuit, especially this particular suit, which has got the GBS seams. Okay, so the suit itself, as I say, 100% super stretch the whole way through, so really, really soft and flexible, and it feels fantastic when it's actually on, which is particularly useful for a summer wetsuit. And when we say summer, we mean the thickness of the wetsuit is 3-2, so 3mm on the body, the lower body, 3mm thickness, and 2mm on the upper body around the arms where you need a bit more flex. A 3-2 is ideal for British summertime, so water temperatures of kind of like 15 degrees upwards basically. This will do you for proud, especially because the seams are GBS, which means glued and blind stitched. Now the foil does come in a flat lock version, which is essentially a very similar wetsuit, still full super stretch but with a flat lock seam. What that means is the flat lock seams are just two pieces of neoprene butted up together and stitched the whole way through, so they are breathable, they let water in through the seams. GBS, which is what this is, it's glued and blind stitched, okay, which is one of the primary features of this wetsuit. So the neoprene is stitched halfway through on the outside, and on the inside it's then glued, okay, and so you get that blind stitching, which means that none of the actual punch holes come the whole way through, which keeps water out of the wetsuit. This sort of taping is just done on the critical joints or where the seams sort of meet each other to ensure that they don't pull apart and you get a longer shelf life out of the wetsuit. Okay, so that's essentially what it means, the GBS. So two of the most important or biggest selling points of this wetsuit, I should say, are the quality of neoprene the whole way through the wetsuit and the fact that it has the GBS seams. Okay, now the foil has always been a really, really popular wetsuit with us. Not too expensive, and it is actually a little bit cheaper than some of its competitors, but the quality of neoprene is really, really good. Really flexible the whole way through the suit and very, very soft to the touch. The construction of the suit is quite straightforward, quite traditional, which means you get the smooth skin panel on the chest, okay, which is a specially treated neoprene which keeps wind out of the wetsuit, which will keep you warmer in the water for longer. And you get that on the front and you get it around the back as well, so that smooth skin mesh just keeps your core warmer for longer. You get similar sort of like seam placement with this wetsuit, which can be seen as a little bit sort of less performance minded, because what you do get with some of the sort of performance suits that they take out the smooth skin mesh and they'll just have one big panel and it creates less seams. One thing I did notice about the suit, there is quite a lot of seams on the wetsuit, but that's because there's quite a lot of technical features to the suit. So you've got the mesh and you've got a thermal lining with that as well, which inherently has to create more seams. So this suit is probably going to be better for someone who's looking for a good balance of warmth along with flexibility, okay, because there are going to be more flexible wetsuits on the market. But having said that, great combination of good quality neoprene and some of the technical features such as thermal lining make this quite a warm wetsuit, so you might actually be able to wear it for a longer time of the year. So 3-2 the whole way through. Move further down the wetsuit so you get some of the traditional sort of features that you get on most wetsuits these days. Something a bit different with the Billabong knee pads. They're made out of that sort of crypto or Duraflex knee pad material, which is very robust, stops it wearing through, but then Billabong do sort of puff that knee pad out a little bit and make it lock onto the kneecap a bit better, so there's a little bit of additional comfort there. Okay, turn the wetsuit round, you can sort of see the seam placement. Any seams are sort of specifically designed to match the shape of the human body and the movement of the human body to make sure there's no restriction there. So all of that is thought about. This particular suit that we do in the chest zip. We find that the chest zip is becoming more and more popular, especially for summer and performance wetsuits. Now this is a slightly different colour, it's quite leery, you should be able to see some space from this particular suit, and definitely not going to get missed by the Coast Guard if you're in trouble. So chest zip system. This Billabong suit comes straight across. It's not an angled zip. Okay, and like Rip Curl, they opt for the kind of more plasticky zip, which I think is a bit of a downside, but it does last, and we don't have too many of the suits back for repair. But it just feels less robust, you know. But it's a good quality zip, and we don't have, as I say, have too many of them back, so that's probably the reason why they've stuck with them. But it's just a standard cross zip, and then the actual inside of the wetsuit is here. You get the panel that goes up and over the top. Any water that comes in through the collar or through the side of the chest zip is met with this panel of neoprene, and is then drained out through the drain holes on the front of the wetsuit, and you get them around the back as well. Just allows the water out of the chest system and just drains away basically. The actual wetsuit, or the inside of the suit, comes up to here, and that should fasten nicely, or sits nicely, securely and snugly against your chest, as long as the fit's good. So I mean, any water that comes in through the collar, when you get a bit of a flush through, is met with that and just gets moved out of the suit. But inevitably you will get some water into the wetsuit. It's kind of pretty hard to avoid. Around the collar, you get like this dipping in the collar. You might be able to see there basically. It's kind of unique to Billabong. What they've done is to try and fit that underneath the Adam's apple. Just makes it a bit more sort of comfortable against your neck. So if you hate sort of really tight, double-lined or thick collars around your neck and you find them quite restrictive and choking, then this is a really, really good option for you. It will sit very comfortable around the neck where that sort of slight dip is. What that does mean is, though, that the collar isn't quite as, obviously the more restrictive or the sort of tighter it's going to be, it's going to be better it's going to be keeping out water. So what you might find with this particular suit, if you fall off at speed, it might be a little bit more prone to flush through. But it depends on the fit of the suit, and it is definitely going to be a lot more comfortable with that sort of dip and lighter weight collar, which is single lined. Okay, I'll move that up and over the head. And what we'll do is turn the suit inside out a bit so you can see what's going on inside. So as I say, the foil comes in, you've got a little key loop there as well, which is quite useful for a lockbox key. So if you've got a key for a box there, or if you've got a non-electronic key for your car, it's always quite useful. So now, as I said before, the foil and the Dawn Patrol, all the kind of like entry-level suits from most of the manufacturers these days, are pretty much 100% super stretch, which has made them really, really lightweight and flexible. But the prices of them haven't gone up too much. So traditionally in the UK, like a GBS entry-level suit, you're looking at between sort of 120 to 130 pounds. So this comes bang on for that, the 130 pound mark. One thing that the Epic, the Onio Epic, is a little bit cheaper, but that's because you don't get as much of the thermal lining basically. And the chest zip system doesn't come with the Epic. It's a back zip system, which makes it a little bit cheaper to produce, and that's reflected in the price. But this is a great quality suit for £130 basically. It's really, really, it won't be disappointed. It'll feel great when it's on. And the reason is because of all this silver material. That's the super flex, super stretch neoprene. You see that all the way up and down the suit. Then you've obviously got all those little patches just where they sort of reinforce the seams on the suit. The chest on the suit here, you can see, is obviously orange, and the same around the back. Now that's basically what we call a furnace or polypro lined chest or thermal chest panel. And basically it's a material which is very, very dense and very, very good at keeping heat inside the suit. So instead of heat leaving all your organs and getting lost through the neoprene, then instead it's met with this sort of thermal barrier. And it's one of the few sort of things that has been brought in wetsuit technology that I don't consider to be too gimmicky. A lot of the stuff, little tweaks here and there, seem to be sort of like just to sort of change the suit from year to year and don't actually make that much of a difference to the performance. But thermal lining is something that you'll definitely notice a difference with. A good thermal lining on the chest and back will definitely keep you warmer. So that's like I said before, so less of a performance wetsuit because it creates more seams, more of a sort of warm wetsuit, or a combination of warmth and flex with this wetsuit, because you get that thermal lining on the front and on the back. And incidentally, that sort of thermal lining is very quick to dry as well, so it's a nice little feature of the wetsuit. So essentially that's everything going on with the Billabong foil. We've got it in two colourways. We've got it in that yellow, we've got it in that blue, and it's always a really popular wetsuit because it's just a all-round good quality wetsuit which combines very good quality flexible neoprene with a lot of warmth, which is particularly important even in the UK summer, because we do get really sort of cold northerly winds and the water temperature never really gets that warm. So it's definitely a good option, the Billabong foil GBS for summer 2014.